Good afternoon. You're listening to Cannabis Corner on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, broadcasting live from downtown New Haven. We are streaming live on TuneIn Radio and NewHavenIndependent.org. We're also streaming live video on Facebook and YouTube. Just go to your Facebook page, look us up, and hit see first to see and hear all the great programs that we have here on WNHHLP. And just a reminder, Cannabis Corner is also streaming live on the Greenhaven Media Facebook and YouTube pages and procannabismedia.com. Go over there right now, subscribe, and you can see all the great videos that we have also up on our Greenhaven Media YouTube page. So it is Monday, October the 7th. 2024. Welcome to Cannabis Corner. I'm your host, Joe LaChance, Joe the Weed Guy. And this week, I am joined here by the lovely and illustrious, I'm going to call Kristen illustrious. Kristen Souza hanging out in the corner. Her and I are going to do the show this week. We send our thoughts, prayers, and wishes out to Uncle Lou, who just suffered a death in his family, a passing of his uncle, so he will not be here today. But we got this. So, Kristen,
yes. Hello.
You? Lovely day today. How was your weekend?
It was not bad. I catching up on house stuff, which is not fun but necessary. We've got an above ground pool and it's still uncovered. So dealing with like some landscaping and covering that shit. Well, it's getting full of leaves now. I'm like, oh my God. So, just putzing around doing stuff like that. How about you? Anything fun and exciting?
I went to an interesting thing on Sunday night. It was thrown by Jill over there with Salt and Oil.
Nice.
At a little place in Milford. It was an interesting place. It was like a little geodome in the middle of a farm.
Interesting.
It was small. It was a small event, but it was a very cool atmosphere. And we just hung out there for about a couple hours. We smoked, talked a little bit about life, and it was good. It was a good time. Something different to do.
Yeah.
On a Friday night. Oh, here's Lou. Oh, great. I didn't know he was going to be coming today. I figured he'd have the day off. Well, Lou, how are you, my brother?
Hey,
I wasn't expecting you today. That's okay, though.
Handling things and, living life. How's it going, guys? I know we're wrong.
How you feeling today?
We are good. I'm with some family today and handling things and, pushing through everything we got to do. Making a sandwich right now.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Condolences to you, brother. Condolences to you and your family.
Your background lately cracks me up. It reminds me of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids because the leaves are so large behind you. So I love it. It's like
that's what Lou's plants look like.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I found the little button that adds background.
Yeah.
I interesting.
I blur mine.
I'm gonna be on Preston's show this Friday.
Beautiful.
With Andy Schoenfeld, who is a therapist that I've been working with.
We love Andy Schoenfeld, the therapist.
Yeah, he just wrote a book.
Yep.
And I've been doing a podcast with him. It's called The Confessions of an Anti-Therapist. If you want to check it out, you can find that on YouTube. I'm up to about my 4th episode, and it's been great. So we're going to be with Preston on Friday at noon on his show. And my background is I put a space in my background.
There you go.
It's like I'm in outer space. But yeah, it's going to be a good show. It's been pre-recorded, so I already know what we said, and it's great. It's going to be a good show. Watch it. That's this Friday at noon. I'm going to be on the Preston and Easy Blues show, which is also right here on WNHHLP. So
love that.
There you go.
I love the pre-recording.
I'm not talking about weed either. It's something different. So
that's right. Our interests go all over the place. There's not just cannabis. Well, I don't know. Most of my interests have revolve around everything and weed, even on my nerdier days.
Yeah, well,
you know?
that's it. I'm into health and wellness and weed because weed is
Yep.
part of health and wellness.
You know,
I mean,
even on my Dungeons and Dragon days, it's weed.
that's it. That's it. That's it.
So what did I start interrupting? Were we on Kristen just yet?
Yeah, we're just getting started. Guess getting
I
started.
babbled that I did nothing this weekend, and then you appeared just in the nick of
Yeah.
time. So,
So yeah, how about you? Well, how about you, Lou?
You know, spent some time with family. Continuing, I'm still out in New York with my family now,
Right,
so it's a
right.
good thing. Did some work around the house here. You know, reminisce, bullshit, keep on happy, smoke some weed, watch.
That's it.
You know, watch some TV, have a beer or two.
Right, right, right. Well,
Sometimes the
yeah.
best thing is family. Spend some time with them. You know what I mean?
You know, I always say it's fortunate yet unfortunate that sometimes the only time you get to see family is at a funeral or a wedding or some big occasion, you know. And I know you're very close to your parents and your family, but a lot of people don't necessarily get that, you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Well, I
you
have
know,
some family that only end up seeing each other at funerals or weddings or anything, but we're Puerto Rican. We really don't get married. So, you know.
oh, and when you do, it's a giant wedding.
That's right.
my friend
Yeah.
Crystal's Puerto Rican. Her husband is Mexican. So, the combination of the cultures, their wedding was so much fun.
It was so much fun. I bet
Oh
it was.
my! Usually,
The
That
food
sounds
was
like an
chef
amazing
kiss.
time.
yeah, that's interesting. Those two blending.
I miss that girl. She would feed me at work.
Now,
She'd
Lou, I
like
want to
cook up a
ask you. I
story.
hate to
She
get
feeds you all the time.
I
Yes,
hate
she
to get sidetracked, but when I lived in LA,
Yeah.
I used to hang out with obviously a lot of Mexicans.
Well, that's
And
because,
they
you know,
had, because they're close, but there seemed to be a little rivalry between Mexicans and Puerto Ricos, like because they
oh, okay,
both
that's an easy one
call
there,
themselves
Joe.
Puerto Rico.
You know, there's a whole running joke about that. You know what I mean? The the Dominicans think they're better than the Haitians. The Cubans think they're better than the Dominicans because they're lighter skin, and the Puerto Ricans think they're better than everybody because you know they're citizens. And I can't
Oh.
take I can't take that joke as my own. That was a Rosie Perez joke, actually.
Oh, that's where the rivalry comes from. Okay. All right, it makes sense now.
It was that running joke, but yeah, that's the comedian. We'll credit comedians for that one.
Okay,
But there is no
very good.
rivalry. We're all Latino and we're all
That's
American
it.
and we're all here
Yeah, but
together to
let's
do
be
what we
real.
need
We're
to
all
for our
human.
families. We're
We're
all
all
humans of the human
yeah.
race.
Yeah, exactly right. We're all humans. And we're all just a lighter shade of brown.
It all depends where the sun was when you were when your people were coming through. That's all.
Evolving, right? Exactly right.
That's
I saw
I wish people would realize that and get it through their head.
It's
It's like,
literally just the sun. That was all
yeah,
it was.
that's
Where the
it.
sun was hotter at a certain point of the day. That was all.
And how much exposure you had to it.
I mean,
That's
it's a
it.
dumb reference, but I saw this video online and it was some guy being like, which race is superior? He's like, what are you talking about? There's no race. We're all just different shades of wheat. And then he pulls up this chart of wheat shades.
Yep.
That's it. We're all
And
just
that's
different
it.
shades
No, yeah,
of wheat.
exactly. Exactly.
I've never seen something. So I'm like, oh, shoot. Okay.
Yeah, at one time, here we go getting off on tangents here, but I'm sure
As
at
we
one
should.
time we were all the same shade.
Yes.
And as we
100%, Joe.
moved around the earth, we shaded up. But
That's it.
I stayed a little pale.
because we went up to Europe.
That was it.
Ireland.
That's it. So, all
What
right.
events we got going on this week,
Yeah,
Kristen?
Kristen, let's get back on track. What's happening throughout the state?
I love it when
wanna
one
get
of
our
us reins
guests
us
on.
in.
It's
All right,
never
back to
me
the topic.
usually. I'm the stoner. Well, we're
We're all stoners.
It's
All
like
right,
a blessing
good.
and a curse. It's a blind leading a blind over here, but we're good. All right, what do we got for events this week? I have a couple that I wanted to mention. So, Joe, you mentioned that you went to something for Salt and Oil over the weekend. They actually have a couple of events coming up again this week. So there's something on Friday the 11th and also Sunday the 13th. That's their yoga flow events that they do. So each one is at a different location. You go to saltandoilyoga.com or just check them out on Instagram. Again, Salt and Oil. But you can purchase the tickets right through their link on Instagram or on their website. Very reasonably priced. Really good time. Just, like I said, all levels accepted yoga class. So even if you're a beginner, do not shy away. I am very much a beginner. So yeah, two
I'm
things
a
that y'all can
no-ginner.
do. No, I'm looking at my yoga mat. I have a yoga mat. I hesitate to tell people I do yoga because then you get the ones that really do it. They're like, can you do XYZ pose? Absolutely not.
Right.
But yeah, yoga's
got
a
a
great
yoga
way to
mat.
just be.
I
Yeah.
got one too, but I
Honestly, I like
stretch.
it. I was just going to say, like stretching
do
out those
stretch.
lower back muscles, your shoulders. It's great.
Right. Yeah. So what else?
What else do we got? We have this one is a Massachusetts event, but it's not too far over the border. So the Whitaker Group, it's a group of folks out in Massachusetts. They do parties and marketing. And they have something called This Party. Well, the one that they're doing on Saturday the 12th is That Party. And the way they refer to it is a masquerade in the trees. So it's a masquerade ball. It's outside, obviously trees friendly, pun intended. Really, really fun event. They throw really good parties and also host events out in Massachusetts. So if you're around on the 12th and you feel like venturing up to Mass, check out That Party. You can go to Whitaker 3.0 or check out Jordan Marie McKenzie. They have information on their Instagram.
Nice.
And last couple, I'll plug this each week. The Connecticut Cannabis Small Business Alliance is doing our first annual fundraiser. That's Sunday, November 3rd. Tickets are now available. So if you go to ctcannabisalliance.com, you can purchase the tickets directly from our website. It's $35. It's going to include a full spread of food, a drink ticket, raffle prizes. It is an auction, so bring some extra dollars. We've got some really great things that we can auction off already. And if you are a small business or an individual that would like to donate to the cause, we are a 501c3 nonprofit. So all of your donations would be tax deductible. So, it's almost time to start doing our annual taxes. Not that that's the only reason to donate, but it's an added perk.
No, you got to get them in before the end of the year. You got to get those deductions in. So if you got extra money, if you got budgets you have to give away by the end of the year, this is a great place to sponsor, give a gift to the silent auction. Just throw a little something in there and it's tax deductible. Put it on your ledger and then next year you can deduct it right off your taxes when you do them in April.
And Joe is our trusty auctioneer. I can't wait to hear you up there.
Yeah, that's right. You get to be, that's right. I'm going to be auctioning all kinds of stuff off. So
volunteered by yours
myself off if you want.
All right, that's going to go a weird direction.
Weed guy.
Love it. Right. And then the last one I wanted to mention, this is LoveBabz. So if you have anything you'd like to contribute, please do. But Nautilus Botanicals is having its second job fair. That is on October 29th. So yeah, stay tuned for more information on that, but save the date on your calendar, get your resumes ready. It's a great opportunity to get involved in the cannabis industry. Or if you're already involved in the cannabis industry, come check out a great new spot to spread your knowledge and get involved.
Up your career.
We'll also be doing a voter registration drive that day. So
that's right.
I love that. That's super important. I love that. I did a voter registration drive once, and honestly, point in time, I was like, there's no way I'm going to register someone to vote. And one of the best conversations I had, it was a guy 1 year older than I am. This was just a couple years ago. So he was in his 40s. He had never voted before. He had never registered. And it was just the coolest thing to help someone that wanted to get involved and just hadn't yet. So right. I think that's super important. I love that.
I always stay registered all the time. I'm always
take it for granted, I mean, I registered when I was in high school.
When I paid
some folks couldn't.
Paid my car taxes. I went down and I checked. I said, "Am I still registered?" And they said, "Yes." And I said, "Good." So good. I'm all set. So I do have a couple of events I wanted to highlight here real quick. On the 17th, there's a full moon costume puff and paint. That is down at Better Ways in Brantford. That is, of course, hosted by C Creation. So you got to get dressed up and get in a costume and puff and paint down there. Visit Duncan and Sarah with C Creations down there. They're doing a great event. Then on the 19th, which is that Saturday, of course, the last big event from the Burn and Learn Center, the Harvest Festival. This time we're going to have Shakedown and the Creamery Kid. So we got a couple great bands. It is obviously Harvest Festival, so people will bringing their crops to share and to show off. So that's going to be a great old time. It's the last outdoor event from the Burn and Learn Center. It's at the Holy Ghost Park in Shelton. You ought to come check it out. I expect it to be a blowout. Of course, Greenhaven Media will be there, shaping footage. I'll be hosting the event. So I'm really looking forward to that one. That is the last big outdoor event of the summer. And again, I think this Wednesday is Kamora's birthday, and she has invited some people up to Kamora's Culture Corner down there in Hartford. And if you want to go down and celebrate Kamora's birthday, that is this Wednesday, I think at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And one other thing, I think on the 19th, I know that the Secret Society, High Society, Cannabis Society is holding an event. And I wish they would stop scheduling them on the same days as other big events. But they are having that. If you want to find out more about that, go to Connecticut. But you got to be a member to be invited. All right. I think that is all I have. Uncle Lou, you got anything? All right. There's a lot of other stuff coming up in October and November. We know about the Harvest Cup and things like that. But we also have another event coming up this month. And that's going to be a cool, fun fighting event. And we got the owner of the company here, the Rolling Stoners, on with us. So let's hold on a second. With us, we have Fabio Rivera. And he is the owner and the president of the Rolling Stoners. And they host the most unique and prestigious grappling invitational on the East Coast. They combine the communities of martial arts and cannabis consumption to give you an unusual yet intriguing event that they like to call Canna-Jitsu. Originating in the Nutmeg State of Connecticut, the team felt that they needed to provide a more moderate, judge-free platform to combat sports athletes who use consumption and its beneficial properties for recovery and pain management. At Rolling Stoners, they hope to continue to spread the message through combat sports such as jiu-jitsu. Whether you're a stoner for the love of all things hemp-derived or an active grappling athlete looking to grace the greatest promotion in the country with your unmatched skills, we encourage you to come check us out. Fabio, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Joe. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's always great to have you guys on. You know, I love what you guys are doing up there. Now, you've been doing what you do is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So it's a specific type of martial art, and it's very combat intensive, correct? Tell us a little bit about, first of all, the sport of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I know this gym has been around for a while that you work with, right? They've been doing this over in Wolcott for a while, right?
Yeah, so what happens is the submission art of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is more of a grappling form of art that combines joint manipulation and submission holds, preferably to a smaller opponent in order for them to outmaneuver and outskill a bigger opponent. In the art itself, it is very, very intense. It is very, very amazing what they do. However, it could also lead to a lot of injuries. Injuries are very, very common. Hence why we use cannabis so much in order to help us out a little bit after training. Unfortunately, it had really been stigmatized for such a long time that unfortunately people weren't comfortable with.
Well, I'd have to say it was probably banned, right? From whatever organization is in charge or whatever, probably banned it. Or even the gym itself probably said, no, don't use it, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And so we actually move around to different places, in Connecticut. We are currently being in this facility, a VFW actually, in Wolcott, Connecticut. They have allowed us to grace their facility with our presence. So we're really, really excited to be back there again. We've done multiple shows in the city of Waterbury. We've done them in Meriden. We are really fortunate to move it to Wolcott this time too.
So you kind of move around the state. Now, let me ask you a question. Being that it is considered a combat sport, but from what you're saying, it's more move based, submission based, and actually striking, right? It's not a real strike based, let's say, like karate or judo or actually, what is that? Kickboxing, right? So
that is
yeah,
correct. It's what I would like to say a more non-lethal way toward martial arts. Very, very common in security, very common in law enforcement. They basically out strategize other opponents. And it's very fascinating to be able to combine the two communities.
yeah. So that was what I was going to say. Now, how would this be effective in a real life situation for self-defense? Like, so somebody who didn't want to get into it, let's say, to be part of a tournament or compete, they just wanted to learn it as a means of defense. Is this something that, let's say, somebody like Kristen or Lou or myself could learn like the basics of, not necessarily to go into the combat part, and add that to our self-defense repertoire, let's say, in case we ever needed it in these times?
Absolutely. I mean, what's lovely about the martial art itself is that it doesn't require a lot of physical strength at all. You'll see a lot of jiu-jitsu athletes who, are not really big, solid guys. However, they are some of the most lethal people, I would consider on this earth, just because of the, skills that they possess. And what I love about it too is the teaching of it is so basic. It is so simple, that, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. It's just not for everybody. And what I mean by that is that it really just comes down to the mental state, man, and whether or not you are mentally capable of withstanding, such a really, really derived form of martial arts that doesn't require much, strength or even agility. It's fascinating.
It's Fabio, you're 100% right there. I have the pleasure of working out with a lot of dudes who partake, and I've gotten to take 2 classes, and man, I can bench 315 and I can squat 500 and deadlift 7 and change, but
nice.
When these very petite gentlemen come up and figure foot, I felt like a little ragdoll walking in there. It was the first very, very, very humbling experience. I got to go to Jensen. He just does MMA up in he's out of the Renzo Gracie in Milford there, because I work out literally right next door. So the guys are on one side, we're on the other side, and it is humbling, and it is very, very, very intensive, and it's a great time, and everybody is really awesome, polite. The camaraderie that I've noticed between all the guys and gals is absolutely awesome, and it's not just the guys. The women are tumbling there pretty hardcore, and you're not sitting here like, oh my God, these are huge people or something. Just the agility and the skill that everybody has put so much work into is very, very, very impressive. So you guys have a skill and a lot of respect that you guys have put into your art.
I appreciate that, Lou. Thank you, man. And I mean, I tell everybody too, you're one of those brave souls to actually walk into a class and be like, oh man, I tried it. And let me tell you, it was intense. And right then and there, you yourself, you don't really know till you experience it. And what I love about it is that's how the community starts. That's how the experience starts. It's like, it's just a wow moment. And it's like, wow, this little person who's probably 6 inches to 7 inches smaller than me and probably got 100 pounds on them can flip me in the air and toss me over, do something my shoulder. It's fascinating.
It is.
I guess it's all about speed and agility. And so like, obviously you do these shows and you go out across different parts of the state, and the guys who participate are pretty much veterans, or they've been doing it for a little while. Where does one go to get started? Are there gyms around? Like Lou just mentioned one here that probably, is there other places around the state where people can go get trained in this stuff and then possibly maybe be able to compete in one of your things someday?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as the sport continues to get more popular, I just see more and more facilities up and coming around the state, which is fascinating. I currently train at one called Technique Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Prospect. Fascinating guys, work hard. A bunch of law enforcement train there as well. And what I love is they all know what I do. They all know that, unfortunately, it's not something that might catch their eye, but the respect there is just amazing. And I wouldn't be able to, be in the same room with a lot of those people if it wasn't for, jujitsu bringing us together. There's tons and tons of gyms, popping up, and I just encourage a lot of people to go down and try it out. Not only does it give you a sense of learning how to defend yourself, but it also gives you that sense of community. Like you're finding your place. For those who don't really feel socially acceptable, it's one of those places that accepts everyone. And I just encourage more and more people to at least just give it a try,
And I gotta think, especially the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is usually a part of, let's say, somebody who wants to go into UFC, into MMA, or even somebody who wants to do professional wrestling, or even, you know what I mean, any of these combat type of sports. I got to think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has to be one of the main weapons in their arsenal. So like a lot of people train, yes, not only in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then they move on to kickboxing, and then they'll move on to traditional wrestling to learn all the overall skills. And I know like Jiu-Jitsu is like one of the cornerstones of any good self-defense person's arsenal, correct?
That is correct. I mean, it is literally, in my opinion, one of the foundations of learning mixed martial arts. And I encourage everybody who ever wants to ever step in the cage. It's definitely a martial art that you must have some type of knowledge in, just because it can be useful in any type of combat situation.
Right. And I'm sure, like you said, law enforcement, and I would have to think military as well, right?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. I encourage those guys. I've met some great military guys who train jiu-jitsu as well. Nothing but humbling experiences with those.
Right. Security officers, people like that. It's a great thing to have. And like you said, the moveset itself isn't that difficult. It's probably more of a question of the technique, when to know when to execute particular moves in what situation and at what timing, correct?
That is correct. It helps bring awareness. It also helps build that self-confidence. It's a lot of people want to walk around with their head held high, and it's unfortunate that they can't because they lack the self-confidence to do so. But something like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu will slowly build that into a person. Little do they know that just coming to some of those classes and getting that humbling experience and actually being pushed beyond their limits is, little do they know, that's them building their own self-confidence. Then they start walking with their head held high,
Right. And I'm sure you've seen that with a lot of people. And these days, a lot of people are looking for different ways to help with their mental and spiritual and physical health. And I think that's one also part that we need to bring up. It's not just a physical practice. There is also a lot of mental practice that goes along with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and not only that, all mixed martial arts, correct?
I agree, Joe. I mean, if I could talk prior experience, I unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, knew someone who during the pandemic, a lot of facilities had closed down.
Sure.
During that time when those facilities had closed down, this one individual used jiu-jitsu specifically to help him cope as his therapeutic release.
Right.
It helped him combat drug addiction. Unfortunately, due to a lot of facilities closing down, he was not able to get the necessary type of the sense of his community and his training,
Sure.
and unfortunately relapsed. And it was,
Oh, that's terrible.
yeah, it just showed, you know, exactly why, you know, it's more than just a physical sport.
Mhm.
It's wellness, you know, it's their version of wellness. And it's very significant in a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, I think people need to understand that when you're doing these type of things, you kind of got to get into that flow state where your regular brain kind of shuts down and you just go with, so as they say, the flow.
Correct.
And for a lot of people, that is almost like a meditative space where they don't think about the problems they have in the real world and they're just focused on, you know, on the jujitsu, on the thing that they're doing right then and there. And there's a lot of power in that for a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like when we do a class, it puts the world on hold for a second, you know,
Right.
you know,
Right.
after, you know, we release all those endorphins and we realize, hey, we completed, you know, an hour of this hard work, we could think more properly, you know,
Right.
we make more, you know, accurate decisions, you know, we learn how to better ourselves, you know,
Yeah.
we kind of reflect on what I did that day. Did it benefit my life? What can I do better? And that right there is mental health just
Yeah.
working, you know, and it's significant.
You know, it really, really is. And I hope people realize that. And I think I wanted to come around now to how did you realize that cannabis and the jujitsu could work really well together? So how did you like, what was the inception of the Rolling Stoners, you know, within the community? And did you get a little pushback from within your community when you first decided to start, or was it a lot of support, a lot of love?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that it was definitely a 50-50 type of ideal. I would say that, you know, as it started to progress, a lot of people began to become comfortable with the idea of it. However, when I first started, it was a lot of, hey, this isn't going anywhere. I don't know what you're talking about. Um, you know, it was a lot of negative energy as well. However, I didn't, you know, let that phase me, of course. And I just, one day I was really aching from the gym, you know, and I thought, you know, what better way than just to, you know, smoke a blunt or smoke a joint just right after the gym? How can I feel better? And
Right.
every time I felt better, you know, it's right afterwards. I'm like, how can I cope with my muscles aching? You know, I might have gotten to an arm bar or knee bar that day and, you know, my certain joint
Twisted, yeah, the wrong way. Yeah.
twisted. And now, you know, I'm having to deal with that pain. What can I do for, you know, some type of therapy?
Right.
And I began to, you know, mix the both. I began to ask athletes what were their kind of usages for therapy. And believe it or not, a lot of people were not willing to admit that they use cannabis
Mm.
as some form of, you know, roll on, or whether or not they decide to consume it. They decide to eat it or smoke it.
This was pre-legalization, right? You started before
Correct.
weed was legal, right?
And this was pre-legalization, yes. And as waited till the laws changed just so I can release the platform, because I felt like there was that need, that sense of a community that needed to be okay with releasing cannabis as a form of therapeutic recovery.
Right.
I
Well,
feel
you got to think, let's say you went to a doctor, right? And you say, I got this pain. He's either going to give you a painkiller like an opioid, or he's going to give you some kind of steroid cream or a steroid or some, you know, muscle relaxer or something. Either way, it's a chemical. You
correct.
know what I'm saying? And as far as I'm concerned, chemical does not heal natural. It
Correct.
may mask the symptoms, but it doesn't heal. And it may even get you addicted, right? It may ruin your life. And you know, that's one thing I wanted to ask you. Do you see, like, was that part of your motivation? Did you see like a lot of people within your community getting addicted to pills, or using steroid stuff to heal injuries. Did you
So
see a lot of that? And did you say this ain't right?
yeah, what I saw so much of, Joe, is I saw people going to the doctor and realizing that they need to go 4, 5, 6 more times after that. And it's why, because they need a specialist on top of a specialist who needs to give you this type of medication, who's a specialist also in that type of medication. And I am so tired of people giving the obvious runaround.
Right.
It blows my mind, and it honestly, it's very upsetting. So one thing I've noticed is, instead of giving a temporary fix, how can we fix this permanently?
Right.
And with all the science that's going on with cannabis, how can we not right now?
Right.
Right.
So yeah, you started out. I remember your first 1 or 2 events. You started out with CBD, right? You just had some CBD sponsors, and because CBD was the only thing legal, that's what you were working with, and that built you a pretty good following, right?
Yeah, it was honestly, it was fun. It was we had a lot of support from the hemp derived community. They were all on board. And they as well were, they gave me so much positive feedback toward it. They were like, listen, this is something right here, and it's just a matter of time. And here we are a few years later.
Yeah. So now we're looking at this event. Now, when is this event? This is not this weekend, but next weekend, the 20th, is it?
Correct. Sunday, October 20th.
Right. And you got some sponsors for this event. Tell us a little bit about who else is going to be involved, who's fighting, how many matches you got. Give us a little bit of rundown of the card. What could people expect?
Lay of the land.
Yeah, one thing I was curious about, like, I used to be a professional wrestling promoter, right? And we used to do shows and VFWs and things like that, but I had to lug around a giant ring with a truck, and you had to set it up 2 hours before the event, and blah, blah, blah. It was a big fat pain in the neck. Now, and it's not like you have to have an octagon or anything like that other mixed martial arts.
No.
This is fairly simple. Tell us a bit about the setup. What can people expect when they walk in? Give us the whole rundown.
Yeah, absolutely. So my entire, organization is built on that perfect experience. When people come in, I want them to come in and feel, number one, noticed, and I want them to feel special. I want them to feel like they matter. I also want them to be amongst some of New England's top tier athletes that have been so underrated for so long. When you walk in the door, not only are you blessed with such positive vibes, because everything is either hemp derived or, in some way, shape, or form related to cannabis. And it just makes everybody smile. And what I love about it is we decided to incorporate something that's a little bit more adrenaline rushing, including our matches. We would ask, some of New England's athletes if they'd like to participate against each other for certain different prizes and medals. And they were all for it, and they decided to help by putting on shows for the cannabis community. And nothing's better than when you want to sit back and relax and take a toke and maybe watch a movie. How about you take a toke and watch 2 guys actually try to tap each other out,
right?
In an adrenaline pumping situation.
Right. And it's done on mats, so it's flat on the ground. There's no big rings, no things to set up. And the people, there's chairs obviously around it so people can watch. And the mats are pretty large, so the guys really don't go off the mats, I would assume. Is there a referee? Is there a ref? Somebody who counts the pins?
Absolutely. So we have a certain type of officials who are of a certain status who I only allow onto the promotion, just in order for us to keep our guys safe. And they have done tremendous work. These guys will go at it. We'll lay a nice mat down on for them. They'll do their best to try to tap each other out. And it gets really, really, really show-stopping. It makes your heart skip a beat for a second, especially when you're smoking. You kind of,
and especially when you're up close. You watch this stuff on TV. It's great. You kind of get a feel for it. But I even know for myself, when you go to an event live, and especially in a setting like a VFW, you're up close and personal. I mean, you could get hit with sweat.
You know, and I had the pleasure of going to one of his events. I think it was about a year ago, and I remember it distinctly because the promotion was Cops versus Stoners, and I was like, "Oh, this dude's out of his mind. I gotta check this out." It was so good, and it's exactly you walk into the room. It was an absolutely human-packed room. I mean, there were a lot of people in there, and there were so many really impressive athletes, and it's exactly what y'all are talking about. I mean, it would be very loud in the room, and then the second the fighters got on the mats, it was like you could hear a pin drop because everyone was focused on watching. It would be over. You were up like, yeah, okay, this guy won that. You know what I mean? On to the next match. And it was very well organized. But I really got a kick out of the fact that full circle back to you had law enforcement folks, you had cannabis community folks. Everyone was just respectful of the athleticism. And it was really fun. So, you know, you definitely all the things you just described. That's exactly, and, you know, I'm not athletic. I can't get on the mats. You know what I mean? I know like that much. It was really fun.
Thank you, Kristen. I mean,
Well, I'm going to try and make it down. I did want to ask you now, like, I know in like judo and karate, there are different levels with different color belts, right? You're a white belt or your brown belt.
Yeah.
And then, so is it the same thing in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Is there different levels of skill that you get a different belt for? And who would the guys be competing like next Sunday?
yeah, absolutely. So there are different levels. White being your beginner belt, black technically being the highest amongst some gyms. And there's definitely different colors in between. It goes white, it will go blue for your intermediate, your purple is your instructor level, your brown is your, we call it baby black belt, and then you finally get to your black belt. And so at this coming Rolling Stoners, we are going to see so many instructors there, so many people who from different gyms actually teach classes, and to have them actually go against each other was going to be fascinating. And we're also having some guys join us from New York City. We have 2 guys coming from Long Island. They're making the trip up. And it's been nothing but love. They've been spreading the word down there in the big city. And they're really, really excited to come up and, you know, display a really great performance for everybody up here.
Wow. Wow. Now, so who's on the card? How many matches?
We are looking at seven
Matches. Any women's matches?
This one, no, not as of but
the next one. I love watching the female fight cards personally. I don't know if that's what you call it, but I like the women best. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, I think that would be definitely cool to put in.
Kind of on brand for me, but still.
But it is possible. There are women like.
Oh yeah, and they're amazing.
All right, so good. Next time,
I remember watching this girl. She's like 3, and I mean, I'm not super whatever. I'm like 5'4" when I stretch. This girl was shorter than me, tinier than me, and I'm sitting there like, all right. Dude, she absolutely whooped some girl on the mat. Like I don't know what she did to her arm, but it looked like it dislocated. I'm like, yep, nope, no.
Might have.
I believe it was called an armbar.
Yeah,
there we go. So you got mostly black belts performing. Are there any like real rivalries, or are most of these basically match up by skill level or weight or size like that? Are there any people like rivalries like who really like New York versus Connecticut?
Yeah,
who really dislike each other? Is there any of that going on?
So there are definitely, as we have been progressing, there have been some instances where different gyms have felt the need to, he wasn't that good, or he didn't really do anything. And it gets back to the other gym, and it goes with some online trolling and, hey, let's go settle this. Let's talk to a promoter. And I've definitely had those instances a bunch of times. And it's like mind blowing, honestly. It's like, where did this all start? Okay, this is awesome.
Like, where did this come from?
Well, that's kind of great, because I mean, if you look at UFC, if you look at wrestling or even boxing, you know, whether there is a real hatred or not between the two guys, they make it look like there is. They build it up, you know, with all this, the promotion, the promos and stuff like that. I mean, is that somewhere Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu could go, like that kind of, you know, that kind of stuff?
Oh, 100%. I think as in, if people don't see it now, they will very, very, very soon. Because it is intense. It gets intense.
Good. So now, what is the main event? What can we expect to see? How do these matches go? Is it 2 out of 3 falls, 1 fall to a finish, or submission? Fall or submission. How does that really work?
Yeah, so so with these 7 matches, we're gonna have 10 minutes on the clock.
Okay.
For each individual to try to tap out the other individual. However, if it goes the full 10 minutes, we will go into what we call EBI overtime, where basically they will be put in a dangerous position and they must either finish the position or escape as fast as they can.
Okay. So it's a time limit, and it's as many falls as you get in that time limit, or is it 1 fall to a finish?
It's just 1 fall to the finish. So
A tap out or whatever, right?
Yes.
Now, is there shoulders to the mat, or is it all tap out?
It's just all tapping out. That's
okay.
It gets intense. It gets people start hunting for joints.
I was saying that's probably where the ref comes in, because someone holding tough, not tapping out. And there's some points where they're like, "All right, you're done, dude."
To make sure the referee is at least sober.
Yes, exactly. You wait till after. Although I have heard that in having cannabis before a match sometimes can loosen you up enough, but I think you got to have your mind, you got to make sure it's a sativa. Make sure your mind.
And find you in the locker room when it's your up.
Yeah, right. And unless, oh wow, I'm tapping. Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, and I think you bring up a good point. A lot of it's about joint manipulation and tapping out and submissions and moving joints and bones in positions they're not normally supposed to go into. This is where the cannabis and the CBD, the rubs, really help. And I'm sure that's why you decided to bring it in, because you're right. It's not a natural position for your bones to be in. And so when you're done, you got to get you back into the homeostasis, as they say, which is where the cannabinoids definitely help. So who do you got sponsoring? Who are you bringing in this time from the industry to sponsor this show?
Yeah, so we are always blessed with 3 of our great sponsors for this event. 2 have been with us since the beginning. One of them is the Cannabio Group, aka Honey Trees as well. They are very, very good personal friends of mine based out of New Britain.
Great people.
Yeah, as well as MMA athletes themselves. Awesome individuals. And definitely will be excited to see them there. We got Boa Cords. Boa Cords is going to be our apparel company that's going to be there. They specialize in different jiu-jitsu merchandise. So definitely hit up David Rodriguez if you guys are interested. And last but not least, we got a special one. One that was definitely very, very unusual at first, but I furthered the convo into it more, and we're going to be blessed by Butter Cannabis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Butter Cannabis is a chain of dispensaries, I believe, here in Connecticut.
Oh, we know them.
Yeah, they own Tallinn, Stratford, those places.
Yep. They just opened a big one here in Stratford, and I was speaking to the owner at the conference. They're actually trying to open a dispensary in the amphitheater here in Bridgeport, inside the amphitheater. Yeah.
Wow, that's
so it's a big time sponsor.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, it'll be very interesting to have them there. They look all forward to it. They think it's unusual but very moderate, as well as something that they want to learn more about. So it'd be very interesting to have them there and talk with them a little bit, see what they have to say. And if you guys definitely be around, come through, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah. Hopefully they're giving out discounts, give out some discount coupons to the people, at least do that for them, and some free swag. That's, hey, why not?
It's a good sponsor to have, though. It opens you up to an audience that maybe did not see you previously, and that's what it's all about. So nicely done.
Yeah. Now, will there be products, CBD products and things like that available there, like rubs and stuff?
Yeah, so we actually, like I said, blessed out to Cannabio. They are hooking us up with a lot of roll-ons, a lot of oils that they said they would be bringing in specifically containing components that are going to really help any athletes with inflammation because they need it the most, in my opinion. And I'm so grateful to have them, create such product and actually be willing to sponsor, these amazing athletes doing so. So you could definitely come through and check out their table. They should have a very wide display of anything between tinctures, topicals, rub-ons, oils.
Nice.
Last time they blessed me with a bath soak, and it was amazing. Amazing.
Oh, okay. See, that's the kind of stuff you want. Have you ever considered doing a Rolling Stoners brand specifically for athletes?
That'd be amazing. That would be a goal, honestly.
That would be kind of cool, right? Well, that's possible.
Yeah.
So definitely cool. All right, so we're getting close to time, Fabio. Let's get all the information out there to our listeners. Your website, what the address is, the date, the time, all that kind of great stuff, how they can follow you on social media. Give us the rundown.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So please come and join us October 20th. It's a Sunday, so it should be convenient for a lot of you guys.
That's right.
Definitely come support the cannabis community and the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community, as well as some hardworking athletes. It will be at the VFW Post 1979, 1115 Woket Road in Woket, Connecticut. Shout out to those guys and shout out to all of the veterans there who treated us with nothing but humble respect. Come through, guys. We're going to have butter cannabis there, honey trees and cannabiyo, boa cords. Definitely get some swag, check it out a little bit, and come see high-level matches. The main thing is the entertainment is come support these athletes in their dreams and their journeys as they display some of the most renowned athleticism to ever hit this side of the country. Get there. Rolling Stoners 9, Croptober Harvest, bro.
Yeah, and now on social media, you are Rolling Stoners BJJ, right?
Hit us up at our Instagram, guys, Rolling Stoners BJJ, or our website, rollingstoners.net, to get any info, tickets, time, anything is going to be there. And please message us if you have any questions. I will respond directly.
Now, you're gonna have food, drinks there? What time does it start again?
It will begin at 2 p.m. First
2 p.m. Okay.
30 p.m. We are followed by Fabio's famous empanadas. So definitely, if you are a lover of cultural Spanish authenticity, definitely come out. And nothing better than being high as hell and a fresh cooked empanada.
Nice.
Come check us out, guys. It'll be awesome.
I think I see
Love
a little
that.
side business coming there.
They're on the house, guys. So please, you're more than welcome to join and definitely grab yourself one and rate it. I am a person of criticism, so nothing is perfect. I could always work on something better.
All right. And so that is Rolling Stoners with a Z.
With a Z.com,
right? And there's a link there for tickets, right?
Yes.
And I've also seen you got some cool videos out with the different fighters. So if they want to check them out, they can go onto your Instagram, Rolling Stoners BJJ. I know you also have a Facebook page. So you're out there. People want to get in touch with you. I highly recommend, if you're into mixed martial arts, that includes UFC, pro wrestling, boxing, definitely come check this out. There's nothing like going to see fighting live. Really, there really is nothing like it. You just, the energy, you almost absorb it. You get it. It's really a great atmosphere. And I love the way you're doing it at a VFW, you're supporting the veterans. And it's just a nice small atmosphere. You get in there almost. Now, is it consumption friendly?
Yes, it is consumption friendly. However, out of respect to the athletes, we do ask that we will take it outside this time.
Sure.
Because of the enclosed space, we don't want the athletes breathing too heavy into a hazy environment where public risk.
It affects their cardio there.
Sense.
You can't have that.
Yeah, just one big, massive, hot box.
Smoky room.
That's the
right?
problem.
Those old school smoky rooms. All All right, Fabio. Thank you so much for coming on. That's Rolling Stoners with a Z. That is Sunday, October the 20th, 2 p.m. in Wolcott. You can get the address and find tickets at rollingstoners.com. Thank you so much, Fabio. Uncle Lou.
We love all you guys, and we're really excited about everything, Fabio. I can't wait. I'd love to take a step in and watch all the excitement. But until then, guys, I'd love if you all stay happy, healthy, and high.
All right, Kristen.
I don't have anything profound to say, but looking forward to the 20th. And yeah, that'll be great. Lots of fun. Even if you're not into athleticism, which I'm, a moderate observer.
If you're
it's
into
a really
cannabis,
fun event.
that's fine.
I'm into cannabis. But regardless, I know you don't feel like you have to be an athlete or someone that's obsessed with the sport. I mean, that's great if you are, but even if you just want to check it out, it's super fun. So worth
And
worth
if
your
you're
time.
looking for a fun Sunday fun day, go out and watch a few people tap each other out. All right.
Get some inspiration.
There you go. All right. Thank you, everybody. You can follow us at Greenhaven Media. Follow me at Joe the Weed Guy. Check out our YouTube page. Check out our website. Join our forum private community. We love you all. Doreen, hit that music, and we're ready to roll. Thank you, Fabio.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Kristen. See you all next week.